a motion, Commissioner Robert Walker would like to participate by Zoom. I'll entertain a motion to allow for that.
I move approval.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Do we have any public comment for today? All right, we'll close public comment and go into our action items first. We have in our backup materials the meeting minutes from May 7th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you.
Do we need a second on that?
Yeah.
We usually do.
Second, okay, I second it.
All right, so we have a motion and a second for item 3A. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, and I apologize for that. With St. Petersburg City Council, we follow small board rules,
Yeah,
which don't require a second when we have committees.
that's why I
So
got confused.
I was in that mode.
It's like, where am I today?
Yeah. All right, and with that, we'll go ahead and move to our next action item for today regarding our federal lobbyist contract, and for that, I would like to say good morning and welcome to Al Burns.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Al Burns, your highly motivated procurement director. It's an honor this morning to be presenting in front of the Legislative Committee. I don't get the privilege to do that often, so I'm just so ecstatic to be here this morning. In March, I came to you and I asked for a time extension on the federal lobbyist contract, just so we could go through the procurement process. And we've completed the procurement process. And today I bring before you an action item to recommend approval of a 3-year contract with 2 one-year options for federal legislative consultants with Van Scoig Associates Incorporated for a total contract amount not to exceed $450,000, and authorize the CEO to exercise the 2 one-year options. Just a little bit of background. In 2015, we started using legislative consultants, both state and federal. And Van Scoig was awarded the contract when we first started this. In 2020, we went back out for the services, and Van Scoig won that solicitation. And I apologize. I know you know exactly what the federal lobbyist does, so I'm not gonna bore you with that, but I would like to go through the procurement process. In March of this year, we released an RFP in accordance with all our policies and procedures. We posted it on Bonfire and Demand Star. On April 17th, we received 2 proposals, one from Coca Run Partners and Van Scoig Incorporated. In your package, you'll see the evaluation criteria that was used. There is a typo inside your packet, and that's gonna be corrected. On May 21st, we had the evaluation committee, not May 1st. On May 21st, we had the evaluation committee, and we evaluated the proposals. At the bottom of that, you'll see that Van Scoig scored 990 points out of 1,000, and Cork Oran scored 721 points. Madam Chair and committee members, I just want to applaud Corcoran for their proposal. It was an outstanding proposal, and staff has reached out to them and told them that it was a good proposal. And we want them to keep their eye when we go out for other future endeavors that might be in their what I call wheelhouse. We did even though we're doing business with Van Scoig, we did a responsibility check on Van Scoig Associates, and they have the capacity to perform the work and therefore is eligible for award. The fiscal impact on this is by operating funds, I do want to highlight the $450,000. I want to applaud Harry and Van Scoig for their pricing proposal. The original contract prior to this was $420,000, and they've increased the value of this contract to $450,000. That's 5 years later, a 10% increase, which I find to be more than fair and reasonable. The $450,000 is flat. We'll be paying a fee of $7,500 per month for the next 5 years, if Brad elects to exercise the options. So there is no escalation, and that's a little bit easier to manage for staff and Brad. That is just a flat $7,500 over the course of the next 5 years. Once again, Madam Chair, I recommend approval. Excuse me, I apologize. I want to acknowledge the contracting officer for this, a young man that is new to the newest member of our procurement department, Mr. Alex Marcano. He was the one who was the contracting officer for this, and I like to say I was just his wingman, and he did an outstanding job on this. The recommendation that I bring before you is recommend approval of a 3-year contract with 2 one-year options for federal legislative consultants for Vanscoy Associates Incorporated for a total contract amount not to exceed $450,000 and authorize the CEO to exercise the 2 one-year options. If there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them, or Brad or I.
All right, thank you. Brad, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I thank Al and the separate evaluation team. I was not part of it, but I know that the committee, I think, agrees with me that we get really great service from our partnership with Harry Glenn and the folks at Vanscoy.
All right, thank you.
Excited to keep working with them.
Commissioner Albritton.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of say the same thing. I've been real happy since I've been on this committee, and even up in Washington, Harry's been a big, I feel that he's done a really good job, and I'm glad to see that he held his proposal down to a 10%, which is good that we can continue with him, so
Absolutely, sir,
it's a
yes.
good thing.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner LaVella.
I apologize for being late. There was a traffic accident, but I will add that I've known Harry since before I was able to drive a car. And that Harry has done a tremendous job for PSTA and for Pinellas County for the many years of service that he gave through his federal duties with the congressman, but also now as he's a lobbyist, and I think he has done very well. I attended a dinner with him maybe a year or two ago, and the last time I went to Washington DC was for an 8th grade field trip. I mean, I have no interest in going to Washington DC, so I didn't know these people that were at this dinner. No, there were hundreds of people, but he knew, committee chairs and members of leadership, but more importantly, they knew him. And, that's what you want in a lobbyist, and I think he is fantastic, and we need to keep him. So if you're looking for a motion, I will move to approve.
And I'll second.
Thank you. Board Chair Fig Sanders, did you have anything to add?
I did not. I don't know what I could say that could beat those accommodations in regards to Mr. Harry and what he's done. I've also, don't know him personally, but have witnessed what he's done on behalf of PSTA the last 4 or 5 years I've been on PSTA, so I have nothing additional to add other than the fact that I would definitely support the continued relationship.
All right, thank you. And I completely agree with the comments from my colleagues. I certainly appreciate that the increase is not a lot considering the value for price paid that we get from
Yes, ma'am.
the assistance that we receive from Harry. Harry, I can't say enough about you. I don't know what we'd do without you. And it is just a real privilege to be able to work with you and know that you are working for us in DC and that you are leveraging all of those great relationships that you have to help keep moving us forward. So you have my deepest gratitude and my full support. And with that, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, and thank you, Harry, the greatest of all time.
Oh, wow, the GOAT. Harry, did you hear that? They called you the GOAT. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, and I do not think we have Ron Pierce on yet.
We do not.
So we're just gonna switch things up a bit and having just lauded Harry with our praises, let's go ahead with our federal legislative update with the one and only Harry Glenn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's very humbling. Thank you for all of the nice comments and Al for all your work on the procurement. It's been a great honor to work with PSTA, both in my congressional career and now as a lobbyist. So I've really enjoyed the work. It's been amazing, all the things that have occurred over the last 10 years that we've worked together, including the Sunrunner and Commissioner Alberta getting the Florida Transit Center queued up to break ground and ready to go, and all the good service you're doing, and to be able to go around the hill with Brad and the board and your staff and hear how much respect that the transit community has for PSTA and what you're doing, the innovation that you lead. It's just been it's a great honor to get to work with you all, and the work is great, and the outcome's been fantastic, and your support staff and your elected leadership there is just wonderful to work with. So it's just very humbling to hear all that you say, and I think it's been a great team effort. I look forward to continuing to work together on these things, and I always welcome your visits. Anyway, so thank you so much for the kind comments. Just to launch in on the federal side, a couple things are happening simultaneously here. As you may know, the president late on Friday released his he had released earlier in the month of May his so-called skinny budget, which was kind of a top line for what he was looking to do in the fiscal 26 budgeting process. On Friday, he released more details of what he wants to do. And the good news is, even though non-defense discretionary spending in his budget will be reduced by 22% in the next fiscal year, he actually provided a small increase for public transit programs. So transit programs grow by $310 million in his budget to $21.2 billion. That's about a 1.5% increase. So again, at a time when the rest of the federal government's going to be shrinking on the non-defense side, it's a statement, I think, that he values and his administration supports public transit. Brad, I saw a statement from the CEO for APT that actually applauded the president, called it a historic investment in public transit and passenger rail infrastructure. So I think that's really a good sign. I think that enables Congress to support these numbers. So that's great. There were no changes for Debbie's interest. There were no changes in the FTA formula grant programs. They actually increased by $363 million. So that's good news for transit agencies, PSTA, and transit agencies across the country. They continue to fund. We'll continue to recommend funding for all the competitive programs that you are so successful at winning awards from, including the low and no emission bus program and the bus and bus facilities grant program. So they'll continue to fully fund those programs. Brad, the budget includes $250 million for ferry programs. It's unclear exactly how they'll distribute that among the rural programs, the urban programs, and the electric ferry boat programs, but it's good that they recommended continued funding for the ferry programs. I know that's a new area of emphasis for you all. And so with that, now that the budget has been received, even though it's a couple months late, House Appropriations Committee is already kicking off their markup session. They have 12 subcommittees. They have 12 regular appropriations bills. They're marking up the first of their two of their first bills this week. They will mark up the transportation appropriations bill, which is where your funding is included, on Monday, July 7th. So that'll be the next key marker for what we see the committee does for transit. I don't expect them to be reducing the president's budget. They may, in fact, increase it to some degree. As you may know, Congresswoman Castro continues to support PSTA. Last year, in the appropriations process, she included $2.5 million for a project on 34th Street. Unfortunately, because Congress didn't finish work on the appropriations bills, all of those congressional directed funding projects, or earmarks, as you know them, as were not funded. But she came back this year, and PSTA asked for her help with a different project this year, which is to provide some ferry dock infrastructure in downtown St. Petersburg for the Cross Bay Ferry. So she included $2.5 million request on her list of 15 projects she can request for the ferry dock infrastructure. So that's pending. We'll see what the committee does with that request when they mark up on July 7th, but I don't have any reason to believe that they won't support that request. So that's good news. On Monday, we were on a call with the U.S. Department of Transportation, talking about, they update us regularly on what's happening at the department. They continue to emphasize, Brad, the Secretary's priorities, which are safety, innovation, and project readiness. In other words, the ability to stick a shovel in the ground for projects. Those are his highest priorities. And so they continue to talk about that. They continue to talk about that they're processing. They had 3,200 pending applications, grant award applications or awards that they were working their way through that they inherited from the previous administration. They've been working their way through. I know, Brad, they've released some early on after your first visit up with FTA, so they're continuing to work through those. They expect another tranche of awards later this week. They said a pretty significant number, so they're working down the list of 3,200. They continue to say that their plan is not to eliminate or cut back on funding for any of those awards. They're just taking their time looking through them and make sure they're consistent with the administration's priorities. So they continue to work through those. Brad, I don't know if you have any others pending or not, but we can continue to check on those for you. The other issue that I think Congress is working through right now, I'm sure you're reading about the One Big Beautiful Bill, which is called the Budget Reconciliation Process. The House, just before Memorial Day, approved its version of the Budget Reconciliation Bill. That bill adds funding in certain areas, particularly national defense and homeland security. It cuts funding in other areas, and it provides an extension of the 2017 tax reform that was enacted by Congress and is set to expire at the end of this year. So there are no cuts in that reconciliation bill that would impact PSTA or public transit in general, which is a good sign. The bill's now pending before the Senate. They're going to work their magic. The goal is to try and get that package to the president for signature before the 4th of July recess. One thing I will note in there, particularly for you, Brad, and your team, the House recommended reopening the Opportunity Zone program, which was created in the tax reform bill of 2017. If you recall, this was an initiative by the first Trump administration to provide tax incentives to private development in I guess underserved, low-income areas of the country. If you remember at that time, each of the governors was able to nominate to Treasury census tracts that would be considered as opportunity zones in their communities. And so Senator Scott was the governor at the time. He submitted his list of proposals, and those opportunity zones were created. The reason I raise this, Brad, is that one of the things that as you've seen Secretary Duncan, have you seen him speak, one of the criteria they're using to evaluate future grant applications are the projects in opportunity zones, neighboring opportunity zones, or projects like bus routes and other things pass through opportunity zones. That'll be kind of bonus scoring of some of these projects. So as you're looking at your grant applications, they'll be looking at current opportunity zones, but now there's an opportunity where governors will be able to nominate new census tracts to be added to the opportunity zone program. So in working with the county and the cities in Pinellas County to look at what opportunity zones they have and where are there areas that you want to add opportunity zones. I know, Commissioner Alburn, I know there's a significant number in the city of Clearwater, and Commissioner Joseph, I know there's a number in St. Petersburg. So and Commissioner LaValle, I know there's others within the county proper. So, working with your local folks to try and identify new opportunity zone opportunities to get the list expanded, I think would be helpful, Brad, so that since you provide service to the whole county, the more opportunity zones we have and the more opportunities to run service through those areas, I think will be helpful as you're applying for future grants. These opportunity zones will be available from 2027 through 2033. So upon enactment of this bill, they would expect the governors to start nominating probably towards the end of this year their new list of opportunity zones. So just something, I know you all represent other organizations, not just PSTA, and so it's something for you all maybe to discuss internally about where are those areas within your cities and the county that should be, and you should work with the governor to try and add to the list. So there's that. The only other thing I have, Brad, is, was at a dinner last night with Senator Scott. We were talking about, a number of the presidential nominations that are out there, including, former Congressman Molinaro, who's the nominee to run the Federal Transit Administration. He received a strong bipartisan vote out of the committee. His nomination is pending before the Senate, but Senator Scott was saying they have more than 100 nominations stacked up in the Senate, so they're having trouble working down that list and trying to prioritize those. So it's not clear yet when Congressman Molinaro will be confirmed to the FTA administrator, but I know APTA and others are really excited about him coming on. They think he's gonna be a great advocate for public transit programs. I also mentioned to him, Brad, at the dinner last night, I thanked him for his staff meeting with you and when you were in town, meeting with the Senate Aging Committee, which he chairs, and talking about the taxi cab exemption and the service that the TNCs provide for senior citizens particularly. So just let him know how he can be helpful on that front. And Brad, we had a couple follow-ups from your last visit. I sent you a form today from Congressman Rouser, who's the chairman of the Highway and Transit Subcommittee, looking for your input on things they should be considering when they mark up the authorization bill next year. So there's that form. They apologize for being late in sending that to you. And I think that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Did you want to add anything
Wow.
before we go to board?
Sure, well, thank you for that, nice to-do list, for me, Harry. I just gotta tell one story about Harry too, cause you guys did. As Commissioner Latvala mentioned, Harry does know a lot of people, a lot of key people always, up there in DC. But even, great thing about him is even when he's not with a bunch of chairmen and stuff, he is very helpful. I think it was a month ago when Debbie Leos and I were in Washington DC, and we flew in, and then we already had a meeting on with the Congress member, Castor, I think, or Luna Castor, I think. And Harry and his wife picked us up from the airport in their car, drove down to downtown DC, parked in a probably illegal parking spot, made his wife sit there in the car as we went in, had the meeting on Capitol Hill, and then when he came out.
That's awesome.
It was a
She volunteered, Brad. She volunteered.
That's where the increase comes in.
But no, just kind of going in order of like long-term, short-term. Thank you very much, Harry, for your help in with the ferry grant. And as you know, Chair Fix Sanders and I were over at Hart on Monday, and they approved the transfer of the grant. And I know we've talked already about that, Harry. The next step is to get the feds to to actually transfer the grant. And so hopefully we can maybe send some messages to the right people at the DOT to help with that in the coming days. As far as the earmarks go, thank you very much for the update on Congressman Castor. Do you know anything about the Congresswoman Luna earmarks list?
She still hasn't published her complete list yet, so it's not due to be published until Friday, so we have not seen anything different for her yet. So, but she hasn't published any of her transportation requests yet.
Okay, yeah, so we're hopeful that maybe she will consider putting in some funding for the city of Dunedin Marina.
I did hear her speak recently, and she said that she was gonna have some earmarks.
Oh, she did? Okay, good. Yeah,
She didn't specify which ones.
yeah, her staff seemed pretty positive about it, the hurricane relief ones. Then, as Harry mentioned, this Congressman Rouser, he is the chair of the Highway and Transit Subcommittee of the Appropriations Committee. So he's an important guy, and has a big leaf of tobacco in his office.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and he has his own form, thank you for that, to fill out about our appropriations requests. Basically, PSCA's priorities are the funding generally for transportation, the specific ferry grants, and then this issue that Harry was mentioning about the making sure we continue to have the ability to contract with Uber and Lyft for our different programs, because FTA issued a proposed regulation at the end of last year that would ban that. So I don't know if there's a deadline. I saw that you had sent the list, Harry, for Congressman Rouser for his subcommittee. He's kind of doing his own thing, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't say there's a deadline, Brad. I would try and get in the next week or two, but I don't know that, I think they're just collecting information right now.
Okay, and then in addition, Harry has been very helpful in the House Transportation Committee has created various, what they're calling portals, where first stakeholders and then congressional members can submit their requests. This is for the future federal, the reauthorization bill of the whole transportation bill that is due next year. So we've already gotten, I don't know if the congressional members, but we sent them to both Woman Castor and Luna, have both indicated a willingness to put our thoughts into the portal now that I guess that's been extended a little bit, the time for that. When I was up there, I don't think a lot of members had put anything into the portal, but that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they extended, the committee extended, I think for 2 more weeks. They were getting, I think the House staff was being inundated with appropriations forms and things they were working on that front, so the other committee gave them extra time, so.
Okay. And then just generally, finally, on the Uber, Lyft thing, of course, President Trump issued a executive order that required any agency that wanted to issue any kind of regulation, they would have to cut 10 other regulations. So there doesn't seem to be any movement on implementing this, getting rid of Uber regulation. FTA has said that they wouldn't really act on they wouldn't bring it up or act on it until their new administrator was approved by the Senate, which according to Harry's intel might be a little bit of time still. But what they said to us when we were in DC was, one, Harry had identified this opportunity to maybe get some the word out about this issue with key Senate leaders, especially because Senator Scott is the chair of the Senate Aging Committee that meets, and so he got a meeting with me and the key staff for that committee and Senator Scott's staff to make them aware. They were not aware of this at all, of course, this possibility and how it really benefits seniors. And so hopefully maybe that can lead to something that would certainly, I think, get some folks aware of it that are not aware of how beneficial TNCs are. And then the second was the federal transit and the House staffers want to see if some kind of solution can be achieved with the US DOT. And so we're waiting on FTA Administrator Molinaro to get approved and then try to have one more meeting, maybe sometime, hopefully this summer, with a number of transit systems from around the country that use Uber and Lyft, just to have a discussion with him once he's there. So I think that's still on the radar. Hopefully he'll get approved. But thank you so much Harry for constantly keeping me updated on all these different moving parts, for sure.
All right, thank you. Questions, comments from board members? No? Well, the APTA Legislative Conference was excellent. I learned a lot through the sessions that they had, and then it was quite a whirlwind on Capitol Hill as usual. And I have to tell you that I thought Will did a great job, Harry, so
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I was rewarding my wife where I left stuck in the car and illegal parking spot with a wedding anniversary trip, so I'm sorry I wasn't.
yes, no,
Wasn't there with you.
I heard, and although I missed seeing you, I was thrilled to hear that you were taking some much needed time off and that you two were out having fun. But I did hear that you were doing a little bit of work while you were on vacation, which is not good. But yeah, so it wasn't the same without you. Will isn't as tall as you are, so he's harder to find in the hallways and stuff. But he did a great job helping to make sure we got where we needed to go. And was great about the questions that he asked and seemed really interested in the work that we're doing. You know, in addition to what he already knew from you. So just wanted to let you know, if you can pass that along, that and I wanted you to know he did a great job. One of the things that I found interesting was when so earlier in the day there was the meeting with Rick Scott's office, and the guy, what is it, Chase? The guy from Rick Scott's office.
Clayton,
Clayton, thank you. He was at that meeting earlier, and then a little bit later, we had a meeting with McKinley on the aging committee, and guess who showed up? Clayton,
It's good.
to hear the spiel again. I mean, I just thought that was very interesting. Those guys stay pretty busy. And he was not scheduled, but he came over and met with us so that he could learn more.
Yeah.
And I found that very interesting, so I wanted to make sure you knew it.
Clayton's very good. By the way, Commissioner LaValle, he's also taking point on the beach project for Senator Scott, so he works on that issue too. So
Oh,
he knows
okay.
the county very well.
Oh, good,
That's good, yeah.
good, yeah. Commissioner Latvella, if you, like, that could be helpful.
Yeah, both Senator, well, really, Senator Scott and Rubio before have been helpful on beach nourishment, as well as our congressional delegation, because that affects 11 counties in Florida, not
Yeah,
just us.
and then Commissioner Latvella, I don't know if you know him, but Connor, who used to work for Rubio's office in DC, is now with Moody's office,
Oh, okay.
right? So,
Correct, that's correct.
if you know, I was very happy to hear that he is in that position. He's very good at what he does.
Yeah, he's a USF grad from Fort Myers, so he knows Florida well.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you about this this ferry money, and so that, like, the next step is finalizing that, you know, through with FTA, right?
That's right, that's right.
But then we have this sort of delay with the confirmation, and it sounds like that could take a while. What does that path look like, and is there another path that can help us get this finalized faster?
Well, we were told by the Federal Transit Administration a couple months ago, and Hart was told the same way, that the process is set, that we have to go through the regional office in Atlanta. Check, we have done that. We have answered all their questions, and the regional administrator in Atlanta has responded back to an email 10 minutes after their vote that Debbie sent on my behalf to her, that she's got it and ready to go. I think it would be nice for Hart to actually send an email or a letter. Hopefully they will do that. Goes to the regional office, we think we've answered all their questions, and then they have to forward it up to someone at headquarters, is what our understanding is. So that maybe, with Harry's help, we can maybe have some influence on pushing that along.
Yeah, do you know who it goes to in headquarters? Is there a specific person that we know would be the recipient?
I do not, we do not.
We could probably find out from the
We can
regional office, Brad, and when Brad and Debbie were up earlier in, that was May, right, Brad, early May, I mean, we met with the new deputy administrator for the FTA, this was first full week on the job, Brad. But we also had some other folks from FTA there, including the woman who, I guess her title is she's liaison with all the regional offices for FTA, she was there too, and so
Yeah.
we did discuss the issue, Brad, and they seem very positive about it. I don't, I think it's just a
Yeah.
matter of taking the lead from when the regional office says it's time to engage the headquarters. I think that's the time to engage, right? I mean,
I
Okay.
don't think there's a real, we had never heard of an issue or anything like that. So,
Yeah,
we'll just make sure it gets done.
yeah. Okay, that's good. I just don't want it to get lost in the
Oh,
shuffle anywhere, so
me neither.
I'm happy to help bug people if needed. This is a great win for us, so we wanna keep going, you know? Oh, and publicly, I wanted to thank you, Commissioner Albritton, for your words of support for the Cross Bay Ferry, and with you understanding ferry service from your city and your area, and hearing you talk about the regional implications of this and as well as countywide, we have to keep going with this.
Yeah, there's a bigger picture.
There really is, and you see that, and it was just inspiring to hear you talk about it the other day.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Harry, we got to hear a couple of different times from the acting FTA Administrator Bakari. Very interesting guy. For those who don't know, he is fresh off Charlotte City Council and is now
Deputy
the
Administrator.
Deputy Administrator for the FTA.
I
And,
guess since he's the top guy there now, he's the acting,
right, so he's the
Head guy.
acting administrator.
Yeah.
He does have an interesting story, Harry, and I know he's kind of new to DC, so I don't know if you've had a chance to be around him or anything, but I'm kind of seeing a path where we could have some support there. So,
Brad, I mean, we met him when Debbie and Brad were up earlier in May, and we met him. Brad, in fact, recall, he worked in St. Petersburg. He knows St. Petersburg, correct? I mean,
yeah, he worked at FIS.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
so he knows it.
So there's a path there that I'd like to take a closer look at some point. I guess that's all I have to add right now. I could go on and on about the legislative conference because there was so much to take in, and it was very positive. It seemed like everyone we talked to about the TNC issue thought it was a no-brainer, you know, and agreed with us. So that was encouraging. All right, good. Anything else? All right, well, thank you, Harry.
Thank you, Harry.
thank you all.
And
Thank you again.
yeah, all right, we'll see you soon. So is Ron not joining us at all today?
He's not able to join us,
Okay.
he told me.
Probably doesn't have much news.
Is it,
anyway.
might be,
I think
there's a
he's
budget
banging on the
conference.
governor's
It
desk
is, yes.
this morning.
Meeting at the governor's
Exactly.
office.
All right, so we'll defer our state legislative update to next time. And,
What happens?
We'll move on to other business. Did you have any?
My only other comment, which is somewhat related to legislative because of the work of this committee, is that we've had, the last 2 days, we've had two good sort of open houses for the Clearwater Transit Center construction project. And they're at the county Palm Room, and we had good attendance from a lot of interested general contractors and subs, interested subs, looking at all the layout that Al and his team put out, and then even one day going on a tour of the over to the site. And we're issuing it tomorrow. Al is leaving this to go get it ready to put the bid out on the street tomorrow, so
Can I add one thing? Commissioner Albritton, I just want to give a shout out to a gentleman, Mr. Ed Griswold. He is the broadcast and streaming engineer over there at the county building. And
he's in the county.
he was very hospitable to us and helped us in any way, and the whole staff over there were just like very nice to us, and I'm so appreciative of it.
Al,
I just wanna let you
what's
know.
his name?
Ed Griswold, Griswold.
And what department is he with?
communications, he's the broadcast and streaming engineer in
Okay,
communications department.
These are over that palm room, right?
Yes, over the phone.
he might be the voice from above. There's always a voice
I didn't get him in trouble, did I?
that- No, 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 no. No, I just wanted to know who it was so I can tell Barry.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, Commissioner Albritton?
Yeah, just how long is is that out before we get?
July 11th is the due date.
When is it?
July 11th is the due
Oh,
date.
okay,
Yes.
pretty quick.
Pre-bid meeting is next Thursday.
Wow, Brad, you.
Wow.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Al said that he will be happy if we get one bid. He'll be, what was it? Thrilled if you get two, we get four.
Yeah, there's a logic behind what I said.
Very good. Anything else? All right, our next committee meeting will be July 9th, 2025 at 9 a.m. With that, we're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Great, thank you.
Go down here to the store, work it on.
Yes.